Tonight on News 5 Live, leader of the opposition goes in on PM Briseno over controversial definitive agreement. Despite public concern, GOB intends to proceed with $90 million hospital in Belmopan. And Darnell Arnold walks free from a Hattieville murder in 2018. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Sign up for Smart Share Plan and save big. Whether you're a small entrepreneur starting up your business, a student on a limited budget, or a family trying to save, this is the plan for you. With unlimited SMS, calls, and data, we help you save. Get up to 5 lines for as low as $30 per line monthly, only with Smart. Sign up today at any Smart showroom or sales manager countrywide. So get your business going, share more memories with friends, and be ready for the day with Smart.
Ignite the innovator in you with Dell. Cellular World is an authorized partner for Dell Technologies. Whether you're looking for equipment for personal use or to transform your business, Dell Technologies can provide you with the right equipment to suit your needs. Dell is more than just desktop computers and laptops. The full line also includes monitors, data storage solutions, keyboards, docking stations, and other accessories. This is technology that makes it possible and provides solutions for every situation. Shop for your Dell products at Cellular World, your #1 Dell authorized partner in Belize, and get all the technology you want for less. Bring your brightest ideas to life with intelligent technology. Cellular World, authorized Dell partner.
You have been a safe driver all your life when an unavoidable accident happens. But this does not mean that your insurance premium must increase. With RF&G's Accident Forgiveness Program, safe drivers will not lose their no-claims discounts because of those minor, unavoidable accidents. For more information on RF&G's Accident Forgiveness Program, contact us at 223-5734. When it comes to motor insurance, it pays to get it right with RF&G Insurance, a Road Group company.
Here's your chance. The stage is waiting. We're looking for talented Belizean singers for another season of KTV The Remix. KTV auditions will take place on Saturday, June 3rd and Sunday, June 11th, starting at 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at Channel 5 on Coney Drive in Belize City. We're also now accepting online submissions. 2-minute videos can be emailed to producer at channel5belize.com or DM KTV Remix on Facebook. Deadline, Sunday, June 11th at 5 p.m. Come be a part of the biggest singing competition of the year. KTV The Remix, only on Channel 5.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Tuesday, May 30th. I am Sabrina Daly. The definitive agreement between the Barrow administration and Portico Enterprises Limited back in October 2020 remains a hot-button issue among parliamentarians on both sides of the floor. On Monday, Prime Minister John Briseno went on record to express his frustration with the disclosure of a white paper that was recently presented to Cabinet on the proposed Port of Magical Belize tourism development project. His colleague, Fort George Area Representative Henry Charles Usher, also appeared in the media criticizing the legality of the definitive agreement signed by former Minister of Economic Development Erwin Contreras. Earlier today, the leader of the opposition had a say on the controversial document, describing it as perhaps the most shocking arrangement entered into by the government of Belize. This morning, Shine Barrow went in on the Prime Minister, raking him over the coals for presenting the definitive agreement as well as accompanying white paper to Cabinet.
The definitive agreement is one of the most horrendous pieces of agreement that I have seen, and wholesaling everything to a foreign entity. And the fact that the Prime Minister was going along with this definitive agreement and saying that it was binding and nothing that he could do, and presented it to Cabinet so that they could present it to the legislature to pass is abhorrent. And we really need to question why. I can tell you why. One of the first things you can look at and ask him, you can't deny it. Haitham Diab, the same gentleman that was giving him his office before he was Prime Minister, when he was Leader of Opposition, he occupied his premises for offices, and then after they did a big contract to continue renting his premises, his good friend, and some say business partner, he said I know a business partner, but he has all the land. He has all the land that Portico will have to purchase. So that's just one example.
During his interview with reporters, Barrow made the point that Prime Minister Briceño has challenged the legality of several contracts entered into by the previous administration. He found it curious that PM Briceño did not denounce the definitive agreement, despite its many controversial clauses.
Well, my reaction is the exposure of John Briceño, the Prime Minister of this country, for corruption. The definitive agreement is abhorrent, as the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister Barrow said, and former AG Senator Perifit have both said, unauthorized, illegal. I can assure you that when I am Prime Minister, one of the first legislations that we will pass is to ensure that no such agreement or no such legislations could be enacted after Parliament is dissolved. To me, that is unethical. And the fact that the Prime Minister of this country, who I have long told you, I have long said that Portico was the favored port project. I have gone on record to say that when we would discuss the perceived, and now we can say the actual prejudices suffered by other port projects. It is clear when we have a Prime Minister that his government has cancelled every contract that the UDP has done. Bolido, again, I don't necessarily agree with that contract to begin with, but the Prime Minister, it's a legally binding contract. That was not done the way that the Portico definitive agreement was done. And while I don't agree with the profit sharing that was taking place between government and Brads Bolido, it is a legally binding contract. They cancel that. How is it now that we have the Prime Minister saying this is a binding contract and there's nothing we could do, then presenting that same definitive agreement, not doing what he is trying to present now after the GX revolted against him, his cabinet revolted against him because of his presentation of that same definitive agreement. He didn't take that definitive agreement and mold it and shape it into a form that was beneficial to the Belizean people, as I hear they are now going to do, because he has been caught.
While Barrow has reserved choice words to describe the Prime Minister for presenting a seemingly shady agreement to Cabinet, he hasn't disparaged the former Minister of Economic Development in a similar tone. In fact, Much of Barrow's response came off as a direct attack on the Prime Minister. But is it all just smoke and mirrors to change course from the despicable action of a former UDP minister? Here's what the leader of the opposition had to say.
The Prime Minister comes across as illiterate and a fool, but I don't think he is. He read that definitive agreement. He knew what he was presenting to the cabinet, and what he was presenting is an act of corruption, and we must accept that he has been exposed. And the same way the former minister that signed that has retired from politics, this is a great sign that Briceño needs to do the same.
The signatory of the definitive agreement, Mr. Contreras, former Minister Contreras, the former AG, Michael Perovita, said that he had no authority whatsoever to have gone into that agreement single-handedly. Do you think he should be investigated, Mr. Contreras?
The Prime Minister of this country attempted to take that definitive agreement and bring it to the legislature. So the Prime Minister needs to be investigated. Whatever they want to do, let it be what is good for the goose is good for the gander. They are both in the same boat as far as I am concerned. And it is more glaring that a Prime Minister who never supports anything that the UDP does, no matter how good it is, no matter how right it is, would take something that was done without the knowledge of the UDP cabinet, that was done without the knowledge of the former Prime Minister, that was done without the knowledge of any of the ministers, that was done after Parliament dissolved. The fact that the Prime Minister did not come out and say, this definitive agreement is terrible and there's no way, look at what the UDP did. No, he said, why the definitive agreement binding?
Coming up, shine on crime against women. I wish this was not an issue we had to discuss. Find out the details of these stories when we come back.
Hello, friends. I'm Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, "But my God shall supply all your need according to His riches in glory by Christ Jesus." The Bible is clear about God's sufficiency. God has sufficiently provided for all of us if we will but seek Him first and follow His teachings. Yet we often live in spiritual poverty. A lady in Belize illustrated this to me in an unforgettable way. She had come in from the Light of the Valley to the Baptist Church in Dangriga, where I was preaching. Mrs. Robinson said, "Brother Bob, I never thought I would live long enough to see electricity come to the valley, but it has come to my house." I asked her, "How much is your electricity bill each month?" She replied, "Oh, it's not hardly anything, because I never use it but to run the fans when it is so hot." Many people relate to God in the same way. They only use Him in times of need. God wants to abundantly bless you today, but you must come to Christ and by faith allow Him to turn the switch on in your life and allow His power to flow through you. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
Years ago, I decided to provide respite care to young Jose who lives at the children's home. So now during the Easter, summer, and Christmas holidays, he would come and spend time with me and my daughter at our home. Sometimes he even comes on weekends. We try to engage in as many fun activities as possible, giving him all the care and attention he deserves. Even though he is with us only part-time, he has become part of my small family, and we always look forward to spending time with him during the holidays. I could not have been happier to have made this decision.
Contact the Department of Human Services and find out how you can become a foster or adoptive parent and be that heart of gold.
Desde las áreas urbanas hasta las comunidades rurales, la conexión importa. El acceso a Internet es crucial para continuar el desarrollo social y económico. Es por eso que Digi, nuestra telecomunicación nacional, continúa invirtiendo millones de dólares para expandir sus redes de telefonía móvil y fibra óptica en todo Belice. Miles de usuarios móviles y viviendas, especialmente a lo largo de las carreteras y en comunidades rurales, ahora disfrutan de los beneficios de la infraestructura resiliente de Digi. Nuestra telecomunicación nacional continúa liderando la transformación digital a través de su tecnología avanzada y compromiso a la excelencia. Con Digi Wallet, beliceños en áreas urbanas y rurales tienen acceso fácil y seguro a una amplia variedad de servicios financieros a través de sus dispositivos móviles. Y con el reciente lanzamiento de Digi TV, nuestra telecomunicación nacional se ha convertido en el único proveedor de servicios de reproducción cuádruple en Belice. Clientes ahora pueden ahorrar con nuestros paquetes DigiOne que ofrecen internet residencial, servicios móviles, teléfono residencial y servicios DigiTV convenientemente en un solo lugar. Digi permanece comprometido en brindar acceso a servicios de alta calidad, confiables y accesibles y crear oportunidades para un mejor futuro. Forme parte de la transformación y viva la conectividad como nunca antes. Porque con Digi, la conexión importa.
Prime Minister John Briceño wants to pass special legislation in the House, giving tax benefits and fiscal incentives to David Gegg for his Port of Magical Belize cruise ship project. This is the same David Gegg who signed a secret agreement with UDP Minister Erwin Contreras 2 days before the last general election in November 2020, without the knowledge of then Prime Minister Dean Barrow or the cabinet.
That document was signed by Erwin Contreras in October of 2020, and in my view, that is a shame, it is abhorrent, and in my opinion, it is completely illegal.
The Cabinet Subcommittee on Investment knew nothing about that agreement.
I am not aware of any definitive agreement, which is usually the last stage of really cementing the investment opportunity in the country. You know, the government has to ensure that the investor has the right, has the capital available, that all the permissions have been granted, that sort of thing.
Despite former Attorney General Mike Parafit's exposure of the agreement as unlawful, the Prime Minister seems hell-bent on making it into the law.
We as a government, we're here to be able to govern and to ensure that whatever investment or whatever approvals that were made by the government of Belize can be carried out. If the definitive agreement, and I have not seen it, was signed by the minister responsible, then obviously it is going to be binding because it's the government of Belize that signed it.
He will legalize David Gegg's secret and unlawful agreement by passing a special law for his government's preferred developer. Why will this man be exempted from paying taxes based on an unlawful and secret agreement?
It's good to keep the environment clean. BSWAMA, step up the pace. They're going places to manage your waste. So make we stand and make well sure. No garbage left on the seashore. The whole of Belize we stay clean, cause we know say worth much more. We have pretty environment. So when you see the garbage on the ground, go off me and just bag it on.
Cleanliness has always been second nature to us, so let's work together to keep our surroundings beautiful and healthy.
No garbage in it.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benqueviejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway, from Roaring Creek to Esperanza, has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times, and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
The government's proposed replacement hospital for the Western Regional Hospital in Belmopan has raised serious concerns, particularly for the KHMH Workers Union. In a release issued on May 25th, the union pointed to a myriad of other reasons why the $90 million would be better spent in other areas of the public health sector. The union criticized the building of a new hospital when, in its opinion, the monies could be placed in nursing education, specialized medical services, and emergency resources. The Ministry of Health and Wellness issued a statement today in which it reasoned that the new facility will replace the existing structure at the Western Regional Hospital that has deteriorated. The ministry also explained that the hospital would be able to provide tertiary care to a larger population than the KHMH currently can provide for, and that establishing the new hospital with tertiary and intensive care will bring improved critical services for the population closer to home. The ministry also stated that because Belize City is prone to natural disasters, the new hospital would provide an alternative for the evacuation of KHMH should the need arise. But today, the leader of the opposition, Mose Shine Barrow, told reporters that building a replacement Western Regional Hospital is a waste of money.
We trust what the president of the KHMH union says before. I trust anything that the Prime Minister says. I would give more credence to a counter narrative if it were to come from some of the medical experts that are not a part of the government. If we could get some of the other stakeholders to chime in, maybe you should get in touch with the other associations and see what those medical experts have to say. But certainly I raised the issue, the UDP raised the issue in the House, and the union president and his membership agrees with all that we have said, and I think they know best what we need. And everyone understands what we need. We need to fix what we have. KHMH is a tertiary public health facility. KHMH is charged with training doctors and doing everything that they say the new facility will do in Belmopan. So the question is after 28 years of not getting KHMH right, the hope was that the Briceño administration would come in, fix that, fix the other public health facilities, and then expand. So I continue along with the UDP to associate ourselves with the medical experts that are crying foul and saying that this is a waste of 90 million. And we as a country still have not seen how they will deal with all of the shortcomings currently suffered by the tertiary medical facility that we have in place. We have not seen how that money will be spent.
Over the past 2 weeks, 2 young women were brutally killed in Belize. The murders of 19-year-old Imari Galvez on the Hummingbird Highway and 31-year-old Mirza Morales at her home in El Progreso Village, Cayo, on Friday night shocked the nation. Today, opposition leader Shine Barrow denounced the murder of women. He said that after having spent 13 years in opposition, the PUP government should have the solutions to crime and violence.
I believe we are in a dangerous place right now where femicide is the order of the day. The young lady, Miss Galvez, teenager, murdered. 6 months before that, another young lady was found in a shallow grave in the same vicinity. We certainly have a problem with violence against women in this country. The doctor that allegedly sexually assaulted the young lady in Toledo, and it was not until the reporting from Channel 7 and other media houses that something was done about it. But this all goes back to citizen insecurity. This all goes back to a priority. The Prime Minister is the chairman of the National Security Council, and we have a security crisis, a citizen security crisis in this country. We have problems as far as prosecution and convictions. The rate is dismal. People go, get arrested, they sit there for a year or two, and then the DPP makes submission of no case. So again, it is not that this problem just appeared when the PUP took office, but it is that the PUP had 13 years to come up with the solutions so that when they became government, they would be able to implement the solutions. I think that's the way we need to look at it, rather than looking at it the way they tried to look at it, which is to blame everything on the previous administration, but that doesn't solve the problem. There are so many things to tackle that I don't want. One of the things that I am discussing with the media to be women being murdered, teenagers being murdered. I would like that to not be one of the issues.
Last week, former police corporal Kareem Martinez was sentenced to 18 years in prison for the shooting death of Laddie Gillett. The 14-year-old boy was shot dead in Placencia in July of 2020. It was later revealed that the men in black were actually policemen who were summoned to investigate two suspicious youth who were loitering in the area near a resort. Martinez, who has served with the Belize Police Department, was a good cop, according to Commissioner of Police Chester Williams, who thought Martinez's sentence was a bit harsh. But in sharp contrast, Williams said another policeman who was also sentenced for sexually assaulting a child deserved every day of his sentence and perhaps more. In yet another case, a police officer, Brigilio Ack, has been charged with sexually assaulting a woman police officer while on duty. Williams shares his thoughts on the three scenarios.
I would have said that the sentence is too lenient. You abuse a child, I think you should be last in prison. Period, full stop.
Okay, and then the third case involving a police was an officer who allegedly sexually assaulted his woman constable.
Yes. The officer, the female officer, did made a report to the police that whilst working at a booth, I think on Rocky Road, along with the male officer, he may have assaulted her sexually. And based on that, investigation was conducted and the police was arrested and charged. Kareem Martinez was not one of those rogue police. He certainly was an outstanding police officer. His track record in the department is a stellar one. I am sure that on that day in question, he did not woke up with the mindset that he was going to kill somebody on that day. And I'm also sure that when the incident occurred, he was extremely remorseful, as I don't think that he would have intended to kill. If he was the type of officer who was out there and was abusive and these sort of things, I would have understood. But he was not that type of police.
Belize City Mayor Bernard Wagner has gone on record to say that he would like a third term in office at the municipal level to complete various projects that began under his term as mayor. But that decision is a matter for the PUP's National Party Council. And while Wagner enjoys the support of some political leaders, News 5 has confirmed that there are several persons who have their eyes set on the highest office at City Hall, including current councillors and a couple female hopefuls. Today, when News 5 caught up with Mayor Wagner, we asked if he is ready for a convention in the run-up to the municipal elections in March of 2024. While it is a democratic process, Mayor Wagner says he wants an endorsement and not a convention.
It's a party matter, and the party, I made my how I will approach it, and I have already conveyed that to the party. But at the end of the day, it's a party decision in respect to how they go about it in selecting a mayor. There's a democracy process, of course, but I have already conveyed to them how I would return. And it's up to my party. I respect my party fully.
So endorsement or convention?
I can't call it. That's it.
Are you ready for either?
No, I have made it clear that I would more than likely not go if it's a convention.
The United Democratic Party installed its Collet area representative, Patrick Faber, as the standard bearer for that division in the next general elections. It has been a whirlwind experience for Faber, who has seen his political career plummet from once being acting prime minister to just area representative, and with a replacement standard bearer in the name of Ian Jones when Faber and the UDP leadership had differences. But all those issues have seemingly been reconciled, and the undefeated Faber is back in the seat in Collet. Today, Leader of the Opposition Shyne Barrow said the decision of the UDP's National Party Council was expected.
Well, the outcome was as we all anticipated, which is to proceed with the Honorable Patrick Faber as the standard bearer for Collet. We also have the reinstatement of Mr. Delroy Cott-Kelvin as a member of the party, and just an overall agreement that all of us will abide strictly to the Constitution and to the resolution that was passed last year in August, which requires all members of the party to refrain from any public attacks or criticisms of the party. What it really is just all of us reaffirming our commitment to the party constitution, which before I became leader was already in place since the times of Esquivel and Dean Lindo and Dean Barrow, and I believe it was amended in 2016, and even when it was amended, that part of the Constitution or those parts of the Constitution that restrict members from publicly criticizing the party have remained, and that is for good reason. So we should not spend any of our time or energy talking about other members of the party or the party itself, even if we may disagree with internal occurrences. We should keep those internal.
After the break, cultural explosion in the Belize District Festival of Arts.
Prime Minister John Briceño wants to pass special legislation in the House, giving tax benefits and fiscal incentives to David Gegg for his Port of Magical Belize cruise ship project. This is the same David Gegg who signed a secret agreement with UDP Minister Erwin Contreras 2 days before the last general election in November 2020, without the knowledge of then Prime Minister Dean Barrow or the cabinet.
That document was signed by Erwin Contreras in October of 2020, and in my view, that is a shame, it is abhorrent, and in my opinion, it is completely illegal.
The Cabinet Subcommittee on Investment knew nothing about that agreement.
I am not aware of any definitive agreement, which is usually the last stage of really cementing the investment opportunity in the country. You know, the government has to ensure that the investor has the right, has the capital available, that all the permissions have been granted, that sort of thing.
Despite former Attorney General Mike Parafit's exposure of the agreement as unlawful, the Prime Minister seems hell-bent on making it into the law.
We as a government, we're here to be able to govern and to ensure that whatever investment or whatever approvals that were made by the government of Belize can be carried out. If the definitive agreement, and I have not seen it, was signed by the minister responsible, then obviously it is going to be binding because it's the government of Belize that signed it.
He will legalize David Gegg's secret and unlawful agreement by passing a special law for his government's preferred developer. Why will this man be exempted from paying taxes based on an unlawful and secret agreement?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble.
After 4 months of grueling BEBL basketball, only the cream of the crop, the final 4 teams are left standing. Betis, Belize Hurricanes, Orange Walk Running Rebels, Danbuga Dream Ballers, and San Pedro Tiger Sharks. And now comes the playoffs.
Y'all ready for this?
Let's go. The playoffs are here! The playoffs are finally here! The Belize Civic Center will be the rendezvous for you this Friday, June 2, as your favorite city team and 2-time BEBL champion, Betis Belize Hurricanes. The only city team left to defend the commercial capital will start their championship journey against their arch rivals, the Danbuga Dream Ballers, in a battle dubbed as Dreaming Nightmares for Griga. Dream. Belize District, it gets no bigger than this, where your Hurricane boys, led by the energetic Chris Fraser, Gancy Cooper Lopez, Victor Vito Evans, Jamel Harris, and Kirk Shabba-Smith Jr. face off against the Danbuga Dream Ballers, led by their giant center, Dominic Woodson, Devon Campbell, and Edgar Boogie Mitchell. We all know Dream Ballers no like Canes, and Canes definitely no like Dream Ballers.
Them not like me, I mean I like them.
Who will draw first blood? Who will take game 1 of this best-of-3 series? Bring out the entire family this Friday night of June 2. The halftime show will feature the Betis $4,000 half-court shot, cell phones and tablet giveaways from Smart and Cellular World.
Hurricanes are one big family.
The after party will be at Thirsty Thursdays. Sponsors.
Yo, respect the city. Love the game. Family. Belize Hurricanes. Hurricanes are one big family.
¿Sabías que el bolillo se ha jugado por 70 años en Belice? Eso es antes que mi mamá naciera. Eso demuestra lo fuertemente arraigado que es el bolillo en nuestra cultura y en nuestra vida cotidiana. Afortunadamente, nuestro gobierno devolvió recientemente la propiedad de Fuí Bolillo a nosotros, el pueblo. Así que ahora, una entidad de propiedad pública, Belize Government Lottery Limited, tendrá la administración del bolillo. Y adivina qué, los beneficios destinarán al NHI y al Fondo Oficial de Caridad. Esto significa que aún más beliceños tendrán el acceso a la atención médica y otras ayudas que necesitan desesperadamente. Todo gracias a este cambio. No sé tú, pero a mí me encanta cómo suena eso. Nuestra diversión, nuestro beneficio y nuestro bolillo.
Dengue and Zika alert. Do your part by preventing mosquito breeding. The Ministry of Health reminds the public that as we enter the rainy season, be aware of the dangers of dengue, chikungunya, and Zika. These are infectious diseases that are transmitted by the bite of Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus mosquitoes. These mosquitoes are most active in early morning and late afternoon. Activities that should be done to prevent dengue and Zika include: avoid having containers that can collect water in your yard. Cover water storage containers such as drums. Change the water in flower pots every 4 or 5 days. These are ideal breeding sites for the mosquito. With the elimination of breeding sites in and around the yard, dengue and Zika can be avoided. Dengue and Zika begin with sudden onset of high fever. Other signs and symptoms include rash, joint pain, eye pain. If you are pregnant or planning to become pregnant, we advise you to visit your nearest health facility. The public is also encouraged to use mosquito repellent spray or lotion on the body or clothing. Do your part by preventing mosquito breeding. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
With so many different styles of light bulbs, sometimes it's tricky to choose the right one. Whether it's a screw-in, candelabra base, or pins, we have what you need. From lamps to ceiling fans, floodlights or chandeliers, We have bulbs available in cool white, warm white, or daylight. All you have to do is choose. Once you have chosen your bulb, the final choice is technology. LED technology is energy efficient, long-lasting, produces a high-quality light, and saves you money. Choose wisely and let Benny's be your one-stop for lights. Benny's, quality and saving.
My Social Security. Your direct online access to all your Social Security information. 360 view of all your Social Security information. Registration services, benefits, contributions, and employer services at your fingertips. Enjoy all the new features with your My Social Security account. Register with SSB. Submission of benefit claims. Submission of contribution statements. View contribution record. Enjoy all your My Social Security feature at ssbportal.org.bz. Social Security at your fingertips.
The fleet of vehicles at the National Fire Service has increased following the handing over of a fire truck by the Belize City Council and the Republic of China, Taiwan. The department has been battling a number of structural fires, and recently, due to the dry weather, bushfires have been a serious concern. And so the donation of a fire truck is timely. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
It's an ongoing struggle for firefighters who respond to structural and brush fires. As such, there's always a need for additional resources to carry out the mandate of the department. Today, the National Fire Service received a fire truck to assist when those distress calls come in.
Trucks were breaking in half. I know you remember those. And since then, this is the fourth truck from Taiwan, number 4. So it's gotten so frequent that our friends at the port, we know that a truck is here a long time before we actually get it, right? So at some point, Miss Michelle sent me a text and said, Fire Chief, you know, there's a truck at the port and we're going to hand it over. I'm like, whenever you tell me to come, I will show up. Because whenever someone is giving me a truck, I will be there. I strike everything else, right? So the partnership, the cooperation between Taiwan and the fire service is extensive.
The vehicle was gifted to the Belize City Council through its sister city relations with Kaohsiung Yon.
We cannot emphasize enough the importance of public safety, and we have to make every effort to eliminate the risk to people's life and property from hazard events. Taiwan, like Belize, is prone to natural disasters. So we know the importance of emergency management and hazard mitigation. Therefore, it is truly an honor for our embassy, on behalf of the Taiwan government, to hand over the fire truck to Belize City so that it could better safeguard its residents.
It's our testament to the great relationship that Belize continues to have and the friendship with Taiwan. We share a sister city relationship out of Kaohsiung, and so the embassy and the government of Taiwan donated this fire truck to the city.
Belize City Mayor Bernard Wagner says the council enjoys a great partnership with the National Fire Service. The donation is simply a helping hand.
But as you know, we are not mandated to really be responsible for fire, and so we in turn redirected that gift to the National Fire Service.
The value of this donation?
I am not certain of the value. It's a gift, and so, but I know it's a gift where the city benefit, especially in terms of the what you call added value that it will bring to the fire service here in Belize City. We know we have been having many bushfires. We have been having those type of other fires in those urban areas that we need to be able to respond quickly, and having this gifted to us and we in turn back to the fire service is a win-win situation here.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
As you drive around the city, you may come up on derelict vehicles parked on the roadside. They've been there for months and in some cases even longer, despite warnings from the Belize City Council that they should be removed or else. Mayor Bernard Wagner says that an active campaign commences with the next week or so to see these vehicles removed from the city streets. Mechanics and others should take heed to the penalties associated with this, which Mayor Wagner says is contained in the law.
There is a project to really address that, an aggressive project which will start within a week or two. And it will be aggressive because we have done the necessary notices. It's in the law books for us. It's very clear. If you go and look it up, it's there, what we can do within 48 hours of a vehicle being in that same area. There's a law there in respect, and we plan to enforce it very, very, very soon. And so I urge those mechanics, those street side mechanics, you either comply with the rule or the law or face the consequences of the law.
What are some of the penalties?
It varies. It varies that we impound the vehicle and we take it and put it in a facility, and that owner of that vehicle pays a fee, and a daily fee, until he takes it back out. And if not taken back out in a certain time, the city has the right to action off that vehicle. So I urge those mechanics, those street side mechanics, and we'll come down very hard on them in respect to trade licenses as well, to begin to comply with the law. We can't have a lawless city. It's time for a change.
It is less than 2 days before the start of the 2023 hurricane season, and the Belize City Council is completing several projects, hopefully ahead of the rains. Keeping drains free of debris that may block the runoff of floodwaters and the completion of a pump station in the Yabra community are in the works. Mayor Bernard Wagner says that the work has been ongoing, but cooperation from the public is also needed.
It does not only start with the city, it starts with the resident and the community and the family, right? Participating and being active in getting together their own little disaster management plan within their homes, and that really begin to expand out into the immediate community, and it expand out into the city and into the wider country. So they're not only about the city. Hurricane season and others for 1 year till now, it's a throughout the year, and it's constantly preparing. When the hurricane season is finished, we immediately start to see what went wrong, how can we improve in what area, and the main thing here is about the city being able to respond quickly and having the maintenance plan in terms of our drains, really reshaping those drains, ensuring that they are connected. Because you could have a drain but you're not connected to nowhere, so you have to ensure that it is connected and it is flowing to a canal, and then the canal to the river, and the river back out to the sea. So we are very optimistic of what we have put in so far. We still remain behind in terms of the pumping station that is slated to be completed on July the 14th, I believe. That was the last correspondent I had with those people that are putting together that pumping station. But if that is ready for July the 14th, and we cross our fingers that nothing happened before then, we will then prepare the canals to really dredge all the attaching canals. We can't do it before the pumping station is completed. But again, we call on the residents to really be mindful of what they are throwing in the canals. We are still facing a huge challenge, and where we are seeing the mattresses, the whole stove, the whole refrigerator being thrown, and it will create big issues in respect to that pumping station, because God forbid that one of those reach into that area, it could really damage the equipment there. So we have to start at the family and about really informing the public of cleanliness.
On Wednesday, the Belize City Council, through the City Emergency Management Organization, is hosting a Building Disaster Resiliency Symposium at the Biltmore Plaza. Prime Minister John Briseno returned to the country on Monday after participating in the World Climate Industry Expo Leaders Summit in Busan, South Korea. The summit focused on global cooperation and solidarity against climate change. During his visit, Prime Minister Briseno and his delegation met with the Global Green Growth Institute, GGGI, to discuss Belize's membership and capacity building opportunities. They also visited the Green Climate Fund GCF headquarters to address project approvals and accreditation matters. According to the Prime Minister, the meeting was fruitful.
We had a very good meeting with the GCF, and so the first time a Prime Minister of Belize have met with the officials of GCF, and what we are telling them is that we are urging them that they need to be able to move quicker with their program, with their projects. We have a proposal with them right now for $50 million US to be able to expand both the water system and sewage system in the San Pedro and also in Kikoko. Now they have told us now that they have responded to our project. Now they've sent it back to the 5Cs, who is handling the project for us. So from there, Dr. Martinez, Oswald Martinez, the CEO for Economic Development, has already alerted the 5Cs here in Belize that they need to respond now quickly, and so that's one of the things that we're going to be responding with them. We spoke to them also about funding. We're attempting to get $20 million also for cane farmers, again for climate resiliency, and we then brought up the issue of probably getting more funding for both citrus and for bananas that are going through a crisis at the moment.
When we return, cultural explosion in the Belize District Festival of Arts.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble!
After 4 months of rolling BEBL basketball, only the cream of the crop, the final 4 teams are left standing. Betty's Belize Hurricanes, Orange Walk Running Rebels, Danbuga Dream Ballers, and San Pedro Tiger Sharks. And now comes the playoffs.
Y'all ready for this?
Let's go. Around. The playoffs are here. The playoffs are finally here. The Belize Civic Center will be the rendezvous for you this Friday, June 2, as your favorite city team and 2-time BEBL champion, Betty's Belize Hurricanes. The only city team left to defend the commercial capital will start their championship journey against their arch rivals, the Danbuga Dream Ballers, in a battle dubbed as Dreaming Nightmares for Griga.
Dream, dream, dream.
Belize District, it gets no bigger than this, where your Hurricane boys, led by the energetic Chris Fraser, Yancy Cooper Lopez, Victor Vito Evans, Jamel Harris, and Kirk Shabba-Smith Jr. face off against the Danbuga Dream Ballers, led by their giant center, Dominic Woodson, Devon Campbell, and Edgar Boogie Mitchell. We all know Dream Ballers no like Canes, and Canes definitely no like Dream Ballers.
Them no like me, I mean I like them.
Who will draw first blood? Who will take game 1 of this best-of-3 series? Bring out the entire family this Friday night of June 2. The halftime show will feature the Betty's $4,000 half-court shot, cell phones and tablet giveaways from Smart and Cellular World.
Hurricanes are one big family.
The after party will be at Thirsty Thursdays. Sponsors.
Yo, respect the city. Love the game. Family. Belize Hurricanes. Hurricanes are one big family.
Sign up for Smart Share Plan and save big. Whether you're a small entrepreneur starting up your business, a student on a limited budget, or a family trying to save, this is the plan for you. With unlimited SMS, calls, and data, we help you save. Get up to 5 lines for as low as $30 per line monthly. only with Smart. Sign up today at any Smart showroom or sales manager countrywide. So get your business going, share more memories with friends, and be ready for the day with Smart.
The Belize District Festival of Arts commenced on Monday in San Pedro and Keycacher, and today made its way to the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts in Belize City. During this week, approximately 100 performances from primary and secondary school students will be presented on stage in dance, music, and drama. While there were some nationalistic and contemporary presentations, many of the performances featured folk and cultural pieces. Tonight's Culture Tuesday takes News 5's Dwayne Moody to the Bliss Auditorium.
It was a cultural explosion on stage at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts as primary school students from Belize District put their best foot forward to win top scores from judges for the District Festival of Arts. It all began in San Pedro on Monday, where many of the performances were inspired by Mayan culture.
And they were out in San Pedro and Keycacher yesterday. Keycacher was in the nighttime, San Pedro during the day. So it was a full day out in the Keys. And now we have the city here this morning, and then this afternoon Belize Rural. Packed program for both sessions. And we will be right back here next week for the Golden Showcase, because Festival of Arts is happening across the country right now. We have adjudicators right now in Toledo, in PG. I believe today is the secondary down there in PG, and yesterday was the primary in PG.
In Belize City today, the presentations were diverse, featuring cultural music and Creole folk drama.
We're from the villages, so you know we're going to come with a village song. So Mr. Peters was the best choice for us, and I think they did an awesome job because we got a gold.
Tell us about how the preparation was like.
Well, our children, they love to dance, so it was easy for us as teachers to train them. Myself and Mrs. Kira Stevenson, we took them in the afternoons, about an hour, hour and a half, and we trained them. It took about a month, and we got them prepared. So.
And it paid off because you guys got...
It did.
We had a twin day a couple weeks ago, and the other infant, one teacher and myself, we dressed as minions, and my students, they enjoyed it so much. They were so excited to see us, and so they said, we want to dress like minions too. So I thought about it and I said, you know what? Let me dress them for Festival of Arts as minions and do a minions dance. And so that's where it came from.
Because of the COVID situation, a lot of people started not believing in themselves. So I decided, you know what, let us do a slow dance, because I usually do fast ones. Let us do a slow one so people can relax, and from it learn that, you know what, I need to believe in myself, and anything is possible if it starts with me, if I believe in myself.
Director of the Institute of Creative Arts, Kim Vasquez, says that the Festival of Arts is the foundation for the expressive arts, but also for the preservation of that intangible cultural heritage of various ethnic groups in Belize.
That was a specific mandate with the revival. One of the things that we are trying to integrate into Festival of Arts is language preservation. And so we said that in the presentations earlier this year, that we want to see more language, we want to see more cultural heritage. But of course, we also recognize that the Festival of Arts is a blend of cultural and contemporary art forms, and so we welcome both. This is the cornerstone of the work that we do at ICA in youth development. The Festival of Arts for us is, you know, like I said, the foundation of everything we do where youth and children are concerned. It has to do as well with the training of teachers in the expressive arts. And this is a revival year. This is the third time in history that the Festival of Arts is going through a revival. The last one was in 2019. There are a lot of growing pains, of course, a lot of challenges. We are seeing more students, this year, as we're coming back. This is it right here. This is what gives you the motivation and give you the cool seed and everything. And you know what, another part for me is I love seeing them watch their peers on stage. I like hearing them applaud for each other.
The Golden Showcase takes place on June 7th at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts. Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Up next, Kevin Buller arraigned and remanded for vehicle theft.
Prime Minister John Briceño wants to pass special legislation in the House, giving tax benefits and fiscal incentives to David Gegg for his Port of Magical Belize cruise ship project. This is the same David Gegg who signed a secret agreement with UDP Minister Erwin Contreras 2 days before the last general election in November 2020, without the knowledge of then Prime Minister Dean Barrow or the cabinet.
That document was signed by Erwin Contreras in October of 2020, and in my view, that is a shame, it is abhorrent, and in my opinion, it is completely illegal.
The Cabinet Subcommittee on Investment knew nothing about that agreement.
I am not aware of any definitive agreement, which is usually the last stage of really cementing the investment opportunity in the country. You know, the government has to ensure that the investor has the right, has the capital available, that all the permissions have been granted, that sort of thing.
Despite former Attorney General Mike Parafit's exposure of the agreement as unlawful, the Prime Minister seems hell-bent on making it into the law.
We as a government, we're here to be able to govern and to ensure that whatever investment or whatever approvals that were made by the government of Belize can be carried out. If the definitive agreement, and I have not seen it, was signed by the minister responsible, then obviously it is going to be binding because it's the government of Belize that signed it.
He will legalize David Gegg's secret and unlawful agreement by passing a special law for his government's preferred developer. Why will this man be exempted from paying taxes based on an unlawful and secret agreement?
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes, go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time, and so are we.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
That the Prime Minister, who said at the time, I haven't seen it, but that definitive agreement is binding. That is, let me just say, suspicious to me.
Okay.
Because it is so easy, as the UDP itself has done, to throw Erwin under the bus. And the UDP, you know, the former party leader and Prime Minister and the chairman have both said, I don't know where Erwin made the smoke to sign that. Something was very wrong. But the good Prime Minister of the opposing party said, no, that's a binding agreement. When the highest level of functionaries of the state have said, oh no, it isn't.
Yeah.
So it is very unusual for me, for a government like Brad's, the Brad's Bolido, that a binding agreement. And the PUP said, this agreement stinks. Okay. And they canceled it, and that will go to court. But the PUP took a firm position on that. And Brad's is its own obscenity. I mean, in terms of the money they've been reporting they're making in the past 2 years on the PUP as opposed to what they were reporting on the UDP. That is obscene,
Okay.
the difference. Yeah. Right? And so the government acted in a proper way, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But they said the UDP did this, and it was damn wrong, and it stinks. It's binding, though. So we have to go to court, but we'll cancel it, etc.
Okay.
But then when you get an agreement, which is much worse than Brad's, in terms of what it forces the government to give up. No. That's binding. Signed by one minister without cabinet approval. No. That sounds good to the Prime Minister. Makes no sense, sir. Unjustifiable.
For the past few weeks, much has been said about the deadlock between the Christian Workers Union and the Belize Port Limited, where the issue of a sugar redundancy package is concerned. While neither party has budged, Chief Executive Officer Ted Peralta shared with News 5 recently that PBL has undergone a series of upgrades over the past 12 months, including the addition of new heavy equipment and vehicles to the existing fleet. The idea, says Peralta, is to improve productivity across the harbor.
Over the past year, right, we have invested in not just equipment, but the component itself. Several things have been done, aside from changing the old type of system of trailers from the corner twist locks to the entire chassis, which is more safer and more operationally productive. We have also brought down 3 more tow heads, right? Some people call it dock tractors, right? Aside from that, we have also bolstered our stackers, right? We have purchased a new stacker, and we have as well now brought in a crane, right? That is bigger, heavier, 230 tons compared to the 190 metric tons that we had before on our previous crane. So we are doing things to bolster the assets, right? To help with the increase in what we have seen in the shipping lines, right? We have seen the shipping lines slowly increase their weights on the containers as well as the width of the container ships. So in that regard, we have tried to equally move PBL into the direction that will facilitate our customers with easier and effective productivity.
While improvements are being made to equipment, the decision by stevedores to revert to the one gang, one ship method has decreased productivity at the Port of Belize. According to CEO Peralta, the company has been noticing a decline over the past few weeks.
Activity over the course of last year, when the 2 gangs came on, slowly increased. It initially was at 10 moves per hour. That is how we grade our productivity in moves per hour, how much containers are moved on and off the ship. And it slowly increased to what was the pre-2 gang situation. And up to that point, we were at 14.3 moves an hour, right? And you could see the disparity in what's going on. Now we have fallen in this month from our records to 13, and we have continued seeing this fall over this month. So it is a situation where we have to consider all the implications, not just to the stevedores, but to our customers, to the agents, and the prolonged losses or costs incurred by our customers, and as well as the trickle-down effect to the other customers of Belize, right? So the productivity has gone down, but it still remains to some extent driven by the situation of the one gang per ship.
25-year-old Darnell Arnold walked out of court a free man after the murder case against him fell through today. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions entered a case of nolle prosequi against Arnold, who had spent almost 5 years on remand. No reason was given in court for the discontinuation of the case against Arnold, but we were reliably informed that it was due to a lack of evidence to prove the charge before Justice Ricardo O'Neill Sancroft. Arnold was accused of the June 9, 2018 murder of 26-year-old Fillmore King, who was killed on his veranda in Hattieville. According to the police report back in 2018, they visited King's residence on Peter Lewis Street in Hattieville and found King on the floor with a bullet wound to the back of the head. He died shortly thereafter. 29-year-old Kevin Buller was remanded to the Belize Central Prison today on a charge of vehicle theft. The charge against him is in connection with the theft of a Toyota Hilux valued at $75,000, belonging to Jalissa Tun, a vegetable vendor. Buller, a resident of Iguana Street Extension, is accused of stealing the vehicle between Friday night and Saturday morning. After police took a statement from Tun, they visited the area and viewed footage from a surveillance camera, which led them to arrest Buller. He was remanded to prison until July 28th. And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at channel5police.com, on our Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, good night.